everybody, and welcome to another Friday Live with myself. I'm Autumn, the Education Coordinator here at Studio 23, and today I have a special guest. I have Misty Coss from Misty Coss Designs, who is also an instructor here at Studio 23, and she has a mixed media class coming up, a 6-week class that's going to start June 14th, right? June 14th, and that's a Monday, and it runs for 6 weeks from 5 to 8 p.m. So we thought you might want to check out some of the awesome things that Misty is doing in her mixed media work, and we could, talk to her a little bit about it. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you go for it, and you can kind of show me what we're doing, and I'll ask you some questions. Oh, I just wanted to mention that yes, we are both not wearing masks, right? That's because we're just two of us in a room together, and we've both been fully vaccinated, right? For about a month out. So, in case you were wondering, that's why we're both sans mask. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let Misty take it away.
Well, hello everybody. Today we're going to be working on a fun project using jelly plates. This is using printmaking techniques as well as hand painting. And these are pretty simple to do. Lots of materials that you can find in your house. If you didn't have a jelly plate, you could use glass. There's a few different things that you can do. I'm using watercolor paper right now. You can use plain paper. You could also use mixed media paper if you want. And since this is so dry in here and hot, I'm using golden open paints. And those are fantastic for when you want a longer period to paint and play with the things that you're doing. I'm going to be using today sap green. We're going to be using our white, the crimson, and the manganese, I can never say that word, and of course black. Now I'm using a regular black, but what we're doing is going to be at the last step, and that's okay. We won't need it to stay open for long. The other thing that I'm going to be using is stencils, which is really fun. We'll be pressing those into the jelly plate and getting our textures. Another thing you might need is some masking tape to hinge your paper, which is really important to get a nice, even print. I don't do that, apparently, because I don't do what I say. So sometimes I get these off pictures, which is okay because you can always cut it out and frame it,
Well, and I think sometimes that off printing actually kind of looks interesting, don't you?
It does.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do first is we're going to find our paper, and then I've already done it here, but I'm putting a little bit of masking tape at the top.
And are you using just regular paper, or what kind of paper?
I'm using watercolor paper.
Okay.
Now you could use mixed media paper, which is flatter version, nice, thick and sturdy, soaks up the paint nice and doesn't get all flimsy.
Okay.
I've seen people use, tissue paper, even plain printer paper.
Oh.
But sometimes, it has a habit of sticking, so you don't, you'd rather use the nice sturdy stuff instead of risking it all and tearing your project in half. So what I'm going to do is I take this painter's tape and put it at the top. I've taken another jelly plate so that my plates are going to be level, and I'm going to...
And now, Misty, a little birdie told me, I don't know if this is true, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. A little birdie told me that in your mixed media class, you are going to teach how to make large jelly plates.
Yes.
Oh, see, now that's exciting, and that makes me want to take it because I have jelly plates at home, and they're great, and I love to use them. But they are pretty expensive, and I don't have any large ones.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, that's gonna be a fun little experiment for people to try.
Ooh.
And you can make them any size or any shape. So whatever mold that you have, then you can have these prints that are circular or flower shaped or whatever.
That's getting the gears turning now.
Yeah. And then they'll be at your disposal. And I guess they last a pretty long time. I've never tested it out how long they actually last, but And there's also a biodegradable version.
Oh.
So you could actually refrigerate them and use them for several weeks and then just toss them out and let them dispose away.
Nice.
So what I've done, so I get those nice straight prints, I've created a hinge and it's level with my jelly plate. So that way when I come down, we're gonna have a nice, even and level surface to press that image onto my paper. So that's step one. Step two is we're gonna find our colors, which is pretty simple. I'm gonna start with my yellow and my crimson. And now you could use a paint plate. I'm just gonna do it straight on it because I'm chaotic. It's okay. Now this,
I don't see it as chaotic. I see it as whimsical, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Yep. And I'm going to use my roller. I'm gonna go on here and I'm just gonna roll it, whoop, and get the table messy, as I always do. Combine the colors a little bit. It will move around. If you don't like it moving around, you could also take your jelly plate down.
Now, how do you know when you've rolled enough?
You want it to be a nice, even surface, which this one is kind of uneven. So you can take a piece of scrap paper or cardboard, or even sometimes I take my journal and I will roll in that excess color.
Oh.
So I can use it for something else, so it's not a waste, because I don't like to waste stuff.
Me either.
Sometimes art supplies can be very expensive. And I'll roll it off on my piece of paper. Just have to remember to take that piece of paper off my paper.
Note to self, note to self.
So I've got this nice bottom part here, looks like a landscape, looks like dirt. You could do it however you like.
Oh, I see, so you're getting a little foreground in here.
Yep.
Ah, okay, nice, nice.
So then I'll switch. I'm gonna plunk this in the water because I'm all done with that. Usually I would say, hey, clean that off. That's what you're gonna use next. We're live.
Is that my job?
Yeah. We're live, so you don't want to watch us wash the brushes. And now we're gonna do a 30-minute segment on washing your jelly plate. Woo, fun. So I'm gonna take some green, oh my goodness, blue. I promise, I'm a teacher, I should know the colors. And some, not green, white. And we're gonna put some white up in the sky too. That'll be our clouds. Now if you get too much on there, you can always scoop it off with something.
So because you're using the open, it'll stay pretty wet on there for quite a while.
Yep.
So like if you needed to scoop some off, you'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So depending on how humid or how hot it is,
I keep it dry in here. I
Yes.
keep the heater on. Sorry.
it's okay. To protect our paintings and stuff, it needs to be dry. So what we can do is scoop it off,
Okay.
put it on a paint plate, you can put it back in. You know, if you have pill containers or whatever, you could save it for later. Put that to the side. Again, I'm gonna roll. Super easy. You could do it vertically, you could do it horizontally.
Oh.
See, look at that, isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's already looking like clouds. Ooh, I like it, I like it.
Me too. And I love the way that blue pops against this orangey color down here. Oh.
It reminds me of when I used to live out west, with the very orange ground and
Oh, yeah.
the very, very blue sky.
So I'm gonna clean that off. And then,
Oh, I'm getting slow on my job, cleaning.
come on. So now, I've taped my, well, just hand me one of those.
One of these?
Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna go in, and you could either do the bottom part or the top part first. I've got these two cool looking stencils here.
Ooh, yeah.
This one's like a mandala.
Oh,
This one's kind of like rocks.
pebbles, yeah.
Yeah, pebbles. I love this one. So I'm gonna go in. Gonna lay this on the bottom very carefully. And usually you want to use a stencil brush for this. I just have this brush right here. Usually you want something bristly, something that's going to stand up. They even have stencil brushes. I'm going to take this green. You could take a black. if you wanted to, or another brown. And I'm just gonna push this color in.
So this project is really about just creating some layers, right? Like you're just
Right.
creating all these beautiful layers.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And you know, we might not get in our class, we might not finish a project every day. We'll work on new things, you know, and we can add to them next time when we learn something new. We gotta remember that art is a process, and we're not always gonna be done in one session.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you make things like this, you know. I always tried to do some image transfers. I didn't have the correct magazines, it didn't turn out. But I can then do something with this later on. I could, you know, send this through a printer, add something in here. Maybe I have a stencil I can put in there. You know, you could even do an image transfer of a person in here. All these things we keep, we put them in our journal or put them in our bag, save them for later. Down the road, we'll have an idea for it later, you know?
I see, because you could be creating an actual completed piece, or you could just be creating a base piece. You don't really know until you're getting in there and working it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And how long have you been doing mixed media, Misty?
Oh boy. Professionally, probably 10, 12 years now.
Okay.
It feels like 4, but then I'm like, oh, no, it's been much, much longer. I was like thinking the other day, I was like, man, I think I've known Autumn for, I don't know, like 5 years. No, I've known her for like 10.
We don't go there. We
Yeah,
don't
we
go
don't go there anymore.
Can't be that long. I'm only 29, Misty.
Yep, same.
So, what do you love about doing mixed media then? What's your favorite part about it?
The great part about it is I love experimenting. I love doing things, you know, taking things that I have and giving them new uses. Let me peel that off.
I think that kind of goes hand in hand. Ooh, I like that with the rocks. I like that. I think it does kind of go hand in hand with our, as artists. I don't know what it is about us, but we learn early on. Maybe it's because you don't realize, and many people don't realize how expensive supplies are, but we really get into the habit of not wasting, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and like for me, like specifically, like I see golden paints. I love golden paints, love using them. They're such a great quality paint. But, you know, you pay for that quality. So for me, I'm like, don't waste
Yep.
that. So I think, and I think so many artists are like that.
Yep. And the great thing about this class is I'm going to bring some of my mediums so that you can play with those mediums. And you can decide whether or not they're right for you before you buy them.
Oh, that's great.
Because you can't just, you know, always invest your money.
Sure.
Now I'm taking some crimson.
Oh, crimson. See, I never would have thought to throw crimson in there. Love it.
I love purples, and when it mixes with that blue, it starts to create a crimson color or a purple color.
And I think because you've done mixed media for so long, I think you've come up with this beautiful process this beautiful like experimental process, and I think you specifically create these beautiful things out of it, these big beautiful color palettes or design concepts. I notice that about your work and I love it.
Thank you. I love color. I love experimenting with color. Definitely not a muted tone person.
Full on chroma.
Yep, full on chroma. There's nothing wrong with being a muted person, but I am just not. I've tried. It doesn't work.
Well, I mean, I think that's part of being an artist too, though, is being authentic, right, to your voice and what you're trying to communicate to the world, right?
So this came off a little bit. That's okay. We're gonna paint in there.
Okay.
Some trees.
Ooh, see, I'm already loving this.
Yes. And you can always go in if you take a little bit too much off. You can go in, add some more.
And you probably
Yeah, if you could. Gonna find my green again. Add some more green.
there you go.
Thank you. And even this open starts to dry up really quick in here.
It's the heater. I have the heater on in here. You know me.
That's why I chose the open today, just because we need a little bit of time. So I'm gonna go in, and like I said, you could use black, but I'm gonna use green. I might go over it again with black. And I'm going to add some trees in here.
So you're kind of creating this part of it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. And these are all always going to come out different. This is not a process that it's going to be the same every time. This is not a mass-produced art piece. You have to remember that. And sometimes they might not come out, and that's okay. And like I said, save them for later. You could probably use it for something else.
Well, and you know what I always used to teach in my kids' classes is if we wanted something to be exactly perfect, we could just take a photograph of it, right? So we're adding an artistic element to it this way, you know, adding our own personal voice to it. So
Yep.
I like that. And so besides the jelly plate, which I kind of gave away that project, sorry. What are some
Spoilers.
of the other, I know, right? Spoiler alert. What are some of the other things that you're going to be teaching in your mixed media class that starts in June?
So we're going to talk about collaging, which is a basic concept. A lot of people know how to collage, but also they need to know about, you know, what different mediums do when you're collaging, and what different, you know, different materials like paper and things like that. They don't soak up your mediums the same way. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about maybe mixed media sculpture, thinking about making stencils, because that's very important. I'm making stencils I'm using stencils that I used off of Amazon, but it's very important as an artist that you're using something that's to you, because, you know, when you're using these things, somebody else can reproduce that or do something similar. So it's always important to make your own things so that you have your own unique style.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
We're also going to talk about journaling and how important that is.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping experiments or samples of things that you do, because that's important too. We need to know how things react with other, you know, if we mix our acrylic paint into our medium versus painting on top. We're also going to be working with different textures, different papers like tissue papers, using found objects. That'll be a fun one. I love doing that.
Oh, yeah.
You know how you and me. So, love doing that. We'll be kind of working on some different things, and you know, if somebody has something they want to do, we can try that out too.
Awesome.
But we're gonna try it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start out with our basic knowledge, and then we're gonna try to build on top of that, so that you're using these techniques on your different pieces. You'll have, you know, a part to journal, a part to do a demo where we're experimenting with different materials, and then you're going to have, you know, an hour and a half to work on your own artwork. If you have questions, if you want to talk, you know, drink wine, whatever you want to do.
So this would be like a great like intro to art class too,
Yes.
right? I mean, obviously at any stage, you've been doing this so long that you could do this for pretty much any level of mixed media artist, but this would especially be a great class for somebody who's just looking to get into painting or just getting into art then, right?
Yeah.
Would you say? Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And when we were talking about getting this class started, I remember, and I asked you, I was like, well, why mixed media? Like, why do you want to offer this as a class? And I remember what you had said. You said for you, it was about learning to have confidence in using the materials and having the knowledge of why you're choosing them.
Yep.
And I thought that was such a great lesson, and I thought, man, if we could even just hit that home to your students in your class, like how much further ahead they would be, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's really, sometimes people have a habit of saying, oh, these people are just taking things that they're finding and putting it and slapping it together, and that's really not what that is. You have to really know, you know, what this is going to do, you know, how it reacts with everything, you know, and especially how it's going to stand up over time too, because things break down, paper breaks down, cardboard breaks down.
Paint degrades, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Using the correct materials and the correct ways to execute it, very important. So now I'm adding some black in here.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Me too.
I love the way this is coming together. This is so fun. Like, it just seems like such a fun medium on top of everything else that you've kind of explained about what your class is going to be about. It just seems so fun, like it would be very relaxing, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
So like if long day of work, you know, if I wanted to do something to relax, I feel like this would actually be a nice, fun way to relax.
Yeah, and this is a great class because I paint like this. You're not going to be like this.
Yeah.
Your art is going to be totally your own.
Yeah.
I'm not making you do, you know, this specific, you know, set of still life, and you have to paint that. If you want to come in and you want to work with paper that day, that's good with you. You know, just do what you feel that day.
Sure.
We might do a still life here and there for the first class for like decoupaging, just to do on tops, really simple. But that's about it. I don't try to make you stick into one style. I don't want you to do my style of stuff.
You want people to figure it out, figure themselves out.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're better off in the long run as an artist anyways.
So I'm going to move my paper on down, and then I'm going to take a big roller, and I'm going to evenly press onto my paper. And we want to try to keep that back end clean. I got a little dirty. That's okay. Now that's just a preference to me. Some people like a messy back. It's okay, you're going to frame it.
Yeah.
But I had a printmaking teacher who was like, this is disgusting. No. Keep the back clean. It looks professional.
Was that at SVSU? I feel like I might have had that instructor too.
Actually, Delta.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's just a good lesson then that everybody teaches.
It is a good lesson because some of these, the open will dry, but something like, you know, the oil inks will not dry right away, and you'll get it all over everything. So
Sure.
I'm gonna peel this up.
Ooh, I'm excited. It's the big reveal.
Little big reveal.
Oh, that's so cool.
And see, even it's different from this one. So each day it's going to be something new.
And
You're
even
gonna-
if you all did the same project, I think this is just a great example of how everything will come out different.
Yep.
You know, how you're feeling, I think, kind of comes out in even the same project here. I think
Yep.
that's kind of an example.
And my house tends to be really cool, very humid.
I'm so sorry. I'm always cold. All right. Well, I think these are absolutely stunning, Misty, and I think that I'm so excited for you to offer this mixed media class at Studio 23. So thank you so much for coming in and doing this awesome demo with us. If you are interested in signing up for Misty's 6-week class that she has coming up starting Monday, June 14th, like we said, it runs from 5 to 8 p.m. for 6 weeks. Give us a call here at Studio 23, or even check us out on our website, www.studio23basecity.org, and you'll get all the class information on there, and you can even sign up. And that is it for us today. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.